Have you ever witnessed a moment where prejudice and ignorance ignite a spark that eventually burns down the very foundation of hate? This is one of those stories. An encounter where the cruelty of a bully, driven by racist stereotypes, collides with the unexpected power of family legacy, and the aftermath leaves everyone stunned. It was a chilly autumn afternoon at Roosevelt Middle School, a place that prided itself on academic excellence and diversity. Despite its reputation, not all lessons were taught in the classroom. Today, beneath the golden leaves that drifted across the schoolyard, an act of bullying was about to unveil the deep-seated racism that still festered in the hearts of a few. At the center of this story was Jasmine Williams, a bright, confident 13-year-old with an infectious smile and a determination to succeed, despite the challenges life had thrown her way. Jasmine was known among her peers not just for her academic excellence, but also for her resilience, a quality she had inherited from her father, Andre Williams, the respected chief of the local police department and a pillar of the community. His influence and unwavering commitment to justice were well known, but no one expected that connection to come into play on a school playground. It all started during a routine break between classes. Jasmine was walking down a corridor lined with colorful lockers and motivational posters when she encountered Marcus Reed, a notorious school bully whose reputation for cruelty was whispered about in hallways. Marcus had long harbored baseless resentments and an inflated sense of superiority, especially when it came to race. His eyes locked onto Jasmine, and in that moment, his prejudice ignited. "Hey, what's up, little girl?" Marcus jeered, his tone dripping with contempt. His words were laced with racist undertones that made it abundantly clear he saw her as nothing more than an easy target because of the color of her skin. "You think you're so smart with all that big people talk, huh? Maybe you should go back to where you belong." Jasmine, who had learned to rise above insults, tried to ignore him, but Marcus wasn't done. He shoved her roughly against a locker, and in front of a small group of onlookers, his voice rose in a crescendo of hatred. "You don't belong here. Why don't you just disappear already?" The racist slurs he spat out were not just words. They were weapons aimed at demeaning her identity. The cruelty of his actions wasn't merely physical. It was steeped in a racist ideology that had been nurtured by ignorance. Each word was a reminder that even in a modern, diverse society, some still clung to archaic views that cast shadows over progress. For the bystanders, it was a moment that stirred uncomfortable memories of a past many had hoped was long gone. At that moment, from a distance near the entrance of the gym, a teacher noticed the commotion. Mrs. Carter, a compassionate educator with a fierce commitment to protecting her students, quickly intervened. "Marcus, that's enough," she shouted, rushing over. But Marcus, fueled by his own bravado, only sneered and pushed on, determined to assert his dominance. Just as the situation seemed like it might spiral further out of control, the sound of rapid footsteps echoed through the corridor. A tall, authoritative figure emerged, Andre Williams, Jasmine's father and the town's revered chief. His presence was like a gust of wind that swept away the arrogance of hate. Without a hint of hesitation, he stepped between Jasmine and Marcus. "Marcus Reed, I want you to listen carefully," Chief Williams said, his voice calm yet laced with unyielding authority. "I have no tolerance for disrespect or racism in this school or anywhere in our community." His tone was measured, but every word was heavy with the promise of swift justice. The air seemed to tighten around them as students and teachers alike fell silent, their eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. Marcus, his face reddening from a mix of anger and fear, faltered for a moment. He began, but was quickly cut off by the chief's stern gaze. "Enough," Chief Williams continued. "Your words and actions are not only unacceptable, they're a blatant reminder that racism still exists, and I will not allow you or anyone else to undermine the dignity of any student under my watch." His statement wasn't just about punishing a bully. It was a public declaration that the old, poisonous ideologies had no place in their community. The principal, Mr. Douglas, arrived moments later, summoned by the commotion and the urgency in the principal's office phones. "Chief Williams, thank you for stepping in," he said, visibly shaken by the intensity of the confrontation. "Marcus, you are to report to my office immediately for disciplinary action. We will also be involving your parents and possibly the district office regarding these racist behaviors." Marcus, his bravado evaporated in the wake of such overwhelming authority, mumbled a half-hearted apology. though it was clear that his insincere words held no real remorse. Jasmine, meanwhile, was comforted by her father's protective presence, though the sting of the incident left its mark on her heart. She had always known that racism lurked in the shadows, but witnessing it so blatantly was a painful reminder of the challenges she faced daily. In the aftermath of the incident, the school community was left to grapple with the stark reality of racism, an issue that many preferred to ignore, yet one that could not be hidden under a veneer of progress. Teachers organized impromptu assemblies to address the incident, emphasizing the importance of respect, diversity, and inclusion. Discussions were held in classrooms about the historical context of racism, the need to challenge outdated stereotypes, and the responsibility each student had to foster a community where every individual was valued. Chief Williams, understanding the broader implications of what had transpired, called for a community meeting. At the packed auditorium of Roosevelt Middle School, parents, teachers, and local officials gathered to discuss the incident. With a firm but empathetic tone, he addressed the crowd. "Today we witnessed an act of cruelty that goes beyond a simple bullying incident," he began. "It is a reminder that racism, in its many forms, still permeates our society, even here in our schools. But let this be a lesson to us all. We must be vigilant, not only in protecting our children from physical harm, but also from the corrosive effects of hate and prejudice. Our strength as a community lies in our diversity, and we will not allow ignorance to tear us apart." His words resonated deeply with the audience. Many parents, some of whom had faced similar challenges or witnessed subtle acts of discrimination, nodded in agreement. The meeting sparked a series of initiatives aimed at improving cultural sensitivity training for both students and staff. New policies were implemented to ensure that any form of racist behavior would be dealt with swiftly and decisively. In the days that followed, the story of the bullying incident spread quickly, not just within the school, but throughout the community. Social media erupted with support for Jasmine and condemnation of Marcus's actions. Hashtags such as Unarm, Stand Against Racism, and Chenarm, Chief Williams spoke trended locally, and opinion pieces in community newsletters decried the persistence of racist behavior in places that should have been safe havens for learning and growth. As for Marcus Reed, the disciplinary action taken by the school was just the beginning of a long journey toward understanding the gravity of his actions. The school counselors worked closely with him, emphasizing that his behavior was not just a breach of school policy, but a reflection of a deeper societal problem. His parents, who had previously been unaware of the extent of his prejudiced views, were called in for a serious discussion with school administrators. They were urged to reflect on the values they were instilling at home, especially in a time when the community was striving to build bridges across racial divides. Jasmine, though shaken by the experience, found solace in the support of her peers, teachers, and community leaders. Her strength in the face of such blatant racism became a beacon of hope for many. Roosevelt Middle School transformed from a place where hate had momentarily reared its ugly head into a community determined to fight back against discrimination in all its forms. How would you react if you witnessed such an act of racism? And how would you respond knowing that sometimes the truth about who someone really is can change everything? Let us know your honest thoughts in the comments below.